It's that time again. It's time for another Saturday night special where we talk about everything rockhounding related. You might notice a change of scenery here. We are up in the office this Christmas Eve. Why? Well, single digit temperatures is why. I have a line, and I think that line for me out in the shop is 9 degrees. Running the heater, it just takes so long to get it up to temperature. It just is a challenge. So we're up here. This is kind of my desk where I do all of the micro mounting and the photos and all the cleaning and all that good stuff. Thought we could hang out up here. Well, let's talk about some of these guys, some of these thunder eggs. Now, this past week, I put up the video talking about the pink versus white cerium oxide, and you can kind of see this was one of the eggs that I used as an example piece. Now, I think these eggs look quite nice, right? You can see that line right there. On the right side of that egg is the white optical grade versus the pink. So it's inevitable. Anytime I talk about any type of challenges with working with any kind of material, there's always people that want to chime in and be like, I can get out every single piece of polish no matter what. And that's fine. I highly disagree. None of these people have ever sent me any of their rocks. There is polish left over in this. Now, you can't really see it with your eye, but when we look at this pocket right up here under the microscope, we can clearly see that there's some residual polish on the inside. Now, is it the end of the world? I know it's there, but to the naked eye, you really cannot tell that it's there. I know. I'm going to go in there with a needle and clean that out, I think. But, even one of the problems I've found with things like the textile gun, you aim the textile gun in that hole, and you can blow out like the quartz crystal lining. So that's a little bit of a problem. I don't want to damage something to remove the polish. Another thing that we can see under the microscope are these right here. Those are little tiny tube structures. Now those little tiny tubes, I guarantee you that there is there's definitely polish on the inside of those. If I was to break into it and dissect the egg some, that there would be polish there. And similarly, everybody else. We do lapidary not for microscopes, but for our eyes. And for our eyes, that's the important part. This still looks good, but I'm definitely going to clean it out, I believe. Well, unfortunately, I received an email this week from High Tech Diamond. Many of you already know. I made a post over on the community tab that they are raising their prices. Now, I get it, right? Like everything's expensive, but that certainly makes it slightly less appealing. So starting on like the first of the year, their flat laps, as an example, will be going from $500 to $650. Not ideal. Definitely makes it a less appealing system for a lot of people, but it's still the cheapest thing on the market. So if you've been on the fence, you're thinking about getting one, now might be the time to pick up a high-tech diamond tool if that's what you've been in the market for. It's just the way things go nowadays, isn't it? I think many, it's no secret that I am quite the fan of reading books about, whatever, rocks, minerals, geology, lapidary, all of that. I have a very extensive library. And sometimes when I buy books, I get them in a lot. So I'm like looking at eBay and there'll be like a box of lapidary books, that kind of thing. And I was going through some of it this past couple of days since we're all snowy and cold out here in Northeast Washington. And there is something folded up in an old lapidary journal that I kind of love the idea of this. So we have a pronouncing guide, a little vocabulary chart here of common rocks and minerals. Now, this isn't, it's very accessible in that it's not a super long list. I mean, where are we at? 5,300 minerals, and then obviously more rocks, and you get into lapidary and stuff. Like, there could be a lot, but this doesn't use the International Phonetic Alphabet, so this is more accessible, although slightly less accurate. But I thought this was kind of cool. It's certainly, seeing it, obviously it's quite old, before the days of area codes being needed. I think I see stuff like this, right? I'm like, oh, what if I expanded on it? Actually, I was talking with Sarah, and I was like, these are the same, by the way. I was talking with Sarah, and I was like, well, what if I did something like this on the website, okay? And you had this, and it was the spelling, pronunciation in a more common sense, and then the phonetic spelling and using the phonetic alphabet, and then I recorded myself saying it, and then her saying it, so you could have a man's voice and a woman's voice. And she looked at me and she said, that would be a massive project. And, you know, it would be. But wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be cool? I know over on Mindat, they have, on some of their mineral pages, they will have somebody, a little sound audio file of somebody saying it, pronouncing the name of the mineral in question. And I just thought that was kind of lovely. I could imagine this being like a little display in a store near the register. Maybe more lapidary shops could do something similar to these guys. I thought that was kind of fun, you know. A couple more thunder eggs to show you. A couple of special eggs. Now these are going to get worked on in the future. These are obviously Richardson's Ranch thunder eggs. Now, this one, look at that that's an atrocious thing right there. What you're seeing is a coated thunder egg. These are not my eggs, though. I was at my mother's house, and she had some rocks in her garage, and some of these were these half thunder eggs. So some of them look, you know, I grabbed a couple, and we're gonna be putting a polish on these in the future. I think that one's kind of fun. It's definitely got a bunch of like wildness to it, which is kind of good. This one, we're gonna strip the plastic off because this has like a polyurethane coat. You can kind of see in there some of that the coating, so we'll strip that off, and we will get that all nice and polished up in probably a future video. I think it'll be nice, and we'll return them. That one's got some nice depth to it. Kind of reminds me of that one. I think this one, though, would be exceptional when fully polished up. So that'll be some future stuff that we can work on. Yeah. Well, I have been working on knocking out some reading lately. I'm quickly approaching 100 books on my website. So if you go over to currentlyrockhounding.com, there's the library section, my personal library, and I've just been kind of chewing through books. And I thought I could share with you the next 5 books that are sitting in my pile to read. Maybe we could talk a little bit about why I went with those. Mine Exploration and Mining Essentials by Robert Stevens. This is a book, sorry about the light there. This is a book that has been on my bucket list for a while. It's kind of a pricey book, but I really want to learn more about the mining industry, the world of mining, and having a very detailed book such as this will be very helpful in that. So this kind of covers pretty much everything in the world of mining. You know, I have a lot of books about historic mines, but not a whole lot about more modern mining practices. So that will be a good one for me to read. And then, you know, I have such a, how to say this? I love having my library. To be able to go over, pull things off, reference it. It's kind of hard to actually really sum up the value of it, beyond just saying extremely valuable. And oftentimes I'm connecting dots. Like, you know, I'm like a detective hunting a serial killer, and there's like a wall of pictures and papers with a red string going between them as I learn some of this stuff. I'm up here. Okay, so part of the Mineralogical Record series, right? There is a book about mineral books. I am super looking forward to going in depth in this and learning about some historical mine or historical mineral literature. So, yeah, I think it would be awesome. This is something that I'm very curious to read here. So, very cool. Looking forward to that. Next up, you know, I have a hard time finding good fossil books. And down below, I'll drop any links or whatever that I can to these. Oregon Fossils. This has been something, a second edition. I'm borderline completely ignorant about the world of fossils. So to have something covering the state of Oregon, we go to Oregon often. So this will be really good to have a book about fossils. There's some history in here. Yeah, looking forward to reading that one right there. Man, you know, I live in igneous world. That's my place out here in the Pacific Northwest. So having a book about metamorphic rocks would be very beneficial, especially one with a heap of color photos. I'm a visual learner for sure. So to be able to have something like this will be excellent, and I can kind of expand my knowledge base some. So I'm always on the hunt for good things like this. And lastly, as I go through his kind of collection of books, John's an amazing author. We're going to probably talk more in depth about his life in the future, but Field Collecting Gemstones and Minerals, this is like the book before there were modern kind of how-to rockhounding books. So 1961, 1970, and then this is the 2018 reprint of this. But it's kind of cool just to be able to have that kind of historic perspective on what people thought, man, I need to make one of those, right? That's a specimen trimmer using a bottle jack. I could definitely weld up something so that you can get really accurate splits on rocks for trimming them out. But yeah, this is a very detailed and cool book from the looks of it. So these are the next ones on my my reading list. Oh, look at that. That's some awful reflection there. These are the next ones on my reading list. I hope you're having a awesome Christmas season, you know, Christmas Eve. Hope you have a great Christmas. And thanks for coming by, hanging out with me in the office. On the next Saturday night special, we'll be getting back to the swing of things. We're going to be out in the ice box. It should be a lot of fun. And with that, I will just leave you and say next week we'll be doing a amazing shop tour. We're getting deep into the shop tour series, and if you have a cool rock mineral lapidary shop, personal, public, club shop, and you want to share it with the world, shoot me an email, currently rockhounding@gmail.com, and we can maybe set something up, specifically if you live in Washington and Oregon, North Idaho. All right, everybody, y'all take care. You have a great Christmas, and I will catch you on the next video.